Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be discussing the series finale of the Vampire Diaries. This is the first video of my new series about the Vampire Diaries stories, characters, and themes. So without further ado, let's begin this review. Honestly, the series finale was not what I had hoped for, but to be fair, many of the problems I had with this episode were a result of the season as a whole. So I'll try my best to remain fair but critical. So let's start with the bad so we can end this video on a happy note. There are three main issues I had with this finale. First was the afterlife. Throughout this season, and frankly the series, the way individuals have been judged in the afterlife made little sense to me. One of the most poignant examples of this issue was the fact that Elena's adopted father was at peace in heaven, or however you want to interpret the ending of this episode. It made no sense to me that a member of the infamous Augustine Society would be in heaven. We know from season 5 that this society has kidnapped, imprisoned, tortured, and experimented on, and most likely killed vampires for research purposes. Now, an interesting counter-argument may be, well, we all know that all vampires, no matter how good they are killers. Throughout this series, we have seen countless examples of ethical vampires who succumb to their bloodlust, particularly in the early stages of their vampire life, and kill people. And that's an interesting point, but I will leave the discussion of vampires, morality, and the ethics of killing a vampire for a later video. My main argument for why the Augustine Society was an immoral organization would be the case of Jesse from season 5. We can deduce from Jesse's unfortunate situation that some of the vampires imprisoned by the Augustine Society were normal humans who were kidnapped, killed, and turned against their will. Then they were tortured and experimented on until they were eventually killed. So how in the world can a man who is a member and active participant of an organization like this end up in heaven? It made no sense to me. Now to my second issue with this episode, Stefan's death. I was aware of the rumors floating around that a major character was going to die in this finale, and I fully expected this to be Bonnie or Stefan. So his death didn't really shock me. My issue with his death was the reason why he died. The only reason why Stefan died was to assure that Delna and possibly Caroline would be endgame. This is beyond disrespectful to Stefan's character. Since around season 4, Stefan's characterization has been terrible. It is beyond frustrating that they chose the reason for him to die to be a plot device to prove that Damon was quote-unquote the better man, and that Delna was the true love story of the show. I'll stop my criticism now before it turns into a rant. Now to the third and final issue with this finale, the pacing. I really tried to give them a pass on the pacing, but I just can't. The pacing for this episode was terrible. There are far too many subplots going on, and the characters were all over the place. But to be fair, the pacing of this episode was also a result of the writing for this season. If this season as a whole had been better paced, this episode would not have need to feel so rushed. And those are my issues with the series finale. Now, onto the good. Number 1, Catherine. The Queen has returned. Long live the Queen. Yes! I've been waiting for this moment since we saw her dragged to hell back in season 5. I knew Catherine Pierce would never let something as trivial as hell keep her down. Honestly, this return wasn't what I hoped for, but I don't really care. I just was so happy to see her one last time. Ruthless, vivacious, and cunning as ever. The scene where Damon and Steph were arguing about who will be the martyr killed me. She was like, I'll leave y'all to have your little hero angst scene and I'll see myself out. Peace. Typical Catherine. Having her as the ultimate final villain was a nice touch. I just wish it had been hinted at a little earlier in the season so it didn't make it feel like some last minute addition to the story. Now to my second and favorite part of this episode, Bonnie. To be honest, I was thoroughly surprised she lived. I fully expected the writers to kill her, so shout out to the writers for having the good sense not to kill the actual heroine of the show. Watching Bonnie save the world one last time was not only my favorite part of this episode, but frankly it was one of my favorite scenes in this entire series. Seeing Bonnie summon all of her power to fight off the flames of hell was a truly beautiful and awe-inspiring scene. But what really brought me to tears was a scene where she was faltering and you see first Enzo. Then all the Bene witches throughout the ages come to her aid. Seeing all these strong, beautiful women who have protected mankind throughout the ages unite to defeat the flames of hell was so beautiful. I replayed that scene so many times. What was also so beautiful about that scene was it was so reminiscent of Usagi's, aka Serena's final battle against Queen Beryl in the 1992 Sailor Moon anime. It was like a cute little tribute to the 25th anniversary of the 1992 Sailor Moon anime. It was so awesome. And that's it. This episode wasn't everything I hoped for, but it was definitely not as bad as the worst case scenarios I feared. So what do you guys think? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment, share, and like this video. Don't forget to check out the rest of my upcoming videos for the series, and subscribe to this channel. Thanks, bye!